this and that and that, but we talked about that. But we got to understand that power's in your faith when you believe. If you don't believe, you have no power. So we want to talk about power. Power is a force without limit of dynamic strength. Power can do all kind of things. God have already told us if we had the faith of the mustard seed, if we had the power of the mustard seed, how many things that we could do and can be moved around us and about us. If we had the power of the belief that what is stored in us was put in us, how we could do so much more than what we do. How we can do so much more than what we claim or what we can't do. When we get ready, when we get the negativity out of our lives and get the negativity out of what God can give us, we need to understand that we need to let go of negativity and increase the positive. Increase the positive that God has placed in you, because God has placed so much power in us that we don't even recognize it and realize it ourselves. I just read to you that the power is of God. And if we believe in him and if we trust in him, then we should understand that the power that God has put in us is a force that cannot be denied. We denied the power. We denied the force because we get our emotions in the way, and our emotions get mastered by the negativity. It tells us, I can't do that. I don't know. I'm scared. And God has told us he has not given us the spirit of fear. But we're fearful of our own selves. If we just, we talked about last week, get out the way. Get the fear out the way. You get out the way and let God handle all that you are inquiring of. We need to understand that the power of the faith that God has placed in each of us, that we are not even using it. We are not even tapped into the source of it. Because there's so many things in our mind and so many things about us and around us that we cannot let go of. Once we begin to let go of things and begin to replace it with the power that we have within us and the positiveness that God has placed in us, the sky is the limit of what we can do. But we got to get out the way. Got to get out of our own way. We got to reprogram our mind so every time something negative come up, we got to replace it with something positive. We got to let it be known that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. But some of us don't believe that. We just, I don't know if the Lord will. Well, if it be the Lord will, that's the worst thing somebody could say. If it be the Lord's will. He already said, therefore I say to you, what things soever you desire when you pray. Look here, let's stop right there, because when you pray, you got to pray with power. You got to pray with power. You can't just say, well, Lord, if it be your will, I'll come before you asking and praying. And you can't do all of that. Because now you weaker than water, and God ain't listening to that. The God is a power. His people are supposed to be your power. You come before the throne of grace with the power and authority that he gave you. And when we do that, we will see how wonderful that God can do all things but fail us. We fail ourselves, and then we want to blame everybody else for our mistakes, for our failure, because we got in the way and we didn't allow God to do what he could do. Amen. Get out of your way. The Bible goes on to tell us when you pray, you got to pray with power, with positiveness. You got to pray like you believe, because he said, if you believe. Well, I believe, but you just canceled it all out. You canceled everything out. Where is your faith? I told us before a couple of weeks ago, if you got little faith, your God is little. Your God is teenage. If you got little bitty faith, and I'm talking less than a mustard seed, because some of us don't even have mustard seed faith. However your faith is, that's how big your God is. If you believe that he can do all things but fail, then you should know you shall not fail, because my God is not a failure. He is not. And I'm have to pound this in the Sunday after Sunday if necessary, because I want you to know that you have power. Use it. Mm-hmm. Use your power. Don't be negative in any situation, even when you can't even see it, even when it looks negative, even when you don't understand it. Step back from it and look at the lesson that God is trying to teach us about whatever the issue, problem, or concern is, and go back to your mind in the table of your mind and regroup yourself and say, I know God got this. Right. If he said he got it, he told me, if I believe. See, that's where we mess up, because the belief is not there. We say we believe, but the belief is not there. When we begin to put on the clothing of belief, and put it on and keep it on and not take it off and lay it around and say, well, what if? Because every time we say what if, we done took off the belief. We have taken it off. And we have allowed the enemy to come in and clap his hands and say, yeah, you're right. Come on, I'm gonna help you out. Because that's what he does. Let us understand that if you have the power, and I believe that you do, and I just said if, because some people don't believe that they do. Because why everything always happened to me? Get out the way and step back and look at yourself. Mm-hmm. Look at yourself, and the person. Look here. When people tell you that this you do this and you do this, and different people telling you the same thing at different times, and they don't know that one said it or the other. Take a look at yourself. Right. Take a look at you while we blame everybody else. Look at you. I'm trying to get us to the point that you have so much faith that whatever you ask for, God will do it, because you believe and you trust him. But you got to have that kind of faith. I believe in God to do some miracles in my life. I'm looking for God to do some serious miracles for Latter Rain, because we need them. Yeah. And I believe that he's going to do it because he said that he was. And I stand on his word no matter what it looks like. I stand. I stand. Because once I fall and don't stand, then it's all over. God will say, I told you. I would, but you were disobedient. Don't you know we can't be disobedient? That's right. No matter what it looked like, we can't be disobedient. Many people then got killed for being disobedient. Things that they could have had and should have, could have, would have, they didn't because of disobedience. We got to learn to obey. When we hear God speak, you got to stand on his word no matter what it looked like. And I'm standing there no matter what it looked like. Because he said he would. And if he said he would, I believe that he is. Because I know that my God has done so many things for me that could nobody else do but him. But him. The Bible tells us, it says, therefore I say to you, he's talking to us. He's telling you, I'm talking to you. What things soever, how big or how small, how teeny or how large, whatsoever you desire, what you desire. He's asking you, what is your need of me? What do you want of me? What is your need that you have of me that you want me to perform or do for you? Some of us need to ask, Lord, give me a little bit more faith. We need to ask him, Lord, I need you right now. I need you to strengthen me in the word, because I need to make sure that I got the word inside of me. So when I go before people, I already know that I can walk in my authority no matter what the situation is. We allow people to tell us anything without consulting God. We need to consult God on every situation. Even before you get into the place of being there with somebody, you need to consult God. What should I do? God, which way should I go? Some of us, we just walk right in on the bomb and it just blow up in our face, and we don't understand why. Because we didn't consult our daddy. We didn't ask him. I asked God all the time, Lord, what you want me to do? Even for a Sunday morning service, I said, Lord, what do you want me to say? Because I don't know what to say. I can read the word and I can do some stuff and tell you this and that and the other, but I don't want it to be me. I don't want me. I don't want me, because when I come on this side, come through that door, it's all him. It's all him, no matter what. It's all him. Me and Dick used to get into it all the time. He said, well, you need to do what I tell you to do. I said, when I go across that threshold, I don't belong to you. I belong to God. because I got to do what God tell me to do, because there were some things he didn't want me to do here. Like, for instance, these chairs, he didn't want them turned, but when he got sick, I turned them. And he got sick and he was at home one day. I said, oh, no, we going to do this. Remember, Pastor? We turned these chairs. And when he came, he said, who did that? I said, we did. But God told us to change it for a reason. Whatever his reason is, it is. And I told him, I said, when I come across that threshold, I belong to God. Because I'm all his every day, even when I'm off the threshold, even when I'm at home, anywhere I am, I still belong to him. But when it comes here to the holy ground of holies, I'm all his. I'm all his. For whatever he wanted me, for whatever he want me to say. So this morning I've been up, didn't get to bed till maybe about 4 o'clock, but that was okay. Because I feel okay. I said, Lord, when you wake me up, I said, just let me just rest my eyes. And when you wake me up, let me be afresh. I'm afresh. I consult God about, because I know if I did it on my own, I'd be tired. I'd probably just be getting up. So, I forgot. I got to get to church. But we need to understand, go for everything to the Lord. He said, therefore, I'm talking to you. What is your desire that you have of me? When you pray, you can't just pray. You got to have power in your prayer, baby. You got to have that P in front of your prayer. And then another P after that for your purpose. You got to have that. Because when you don't have it, then you just lost. Well, I don't know. What's your purpose that you're going in for prayer? Where's your power that you can stand before the Lord and say, Father, I come before you. And ask him and talk to him and pray within him. It's in you. I keep telling us it's inside of us. Let that fire get on fire. Let it light up. Don't let it be a smothering little warm thing. Let it be hot. Your fire in you is supposed to be hot for the Lord, not lukewarm. Not even warm. It's supposed to be so hot that when somebody passes, they can feel like, ooh, something different about you. So that's the fire of the Holy Ghost, baby. That's what it is. I got the fire in me. I carry it with me everywhere I go. And all that I do, the fire is there. And that's how it's supposed to be. He said, believe. When he said that the next word after pray, he said, believe. Then we say, well, if it's the Lord's will. Don't say that. It is his will. Because if it wasn't his will, this right here wouldn't be here. This right here, this verse would not be here. Because he said, I'm asking you, what things soever, that could be anything you desire. When the Lord told King Solomon that, King Solomon told the Lord, you done gave my daddy everything, which is David was a father. He said, you done gave my daddy everything. I just want a little wisdom so I can make decisions. And the Lord was pleased with Solomon when he said that. He told him, I will make sure that you be wealthy and you would have wisdom. When the two women brought the baby to King Solomon, because one had died. There were two women living together, and one had died, and the other one lived. And the one that died took her baby and took it to the woman that had a live baby and took her baby while she was asleep. So that long story short, they went before King Solomon and asked King Solomon to make a decision as to which way should they do this baby. And the woman said, this is my baby. The woman who baby had died, this is my baby. And the other woman said, no, when I was asleep, she took her baby and put it on my breast, and then took mine and put it on her breast. So King Solomon says, well, then this is what I'm going to do. He told one of his servants, bring me my sword. So they said, bring me my sword. And as they brought the sword, he said, then I'll divide this baby. You get half and you get half. And the mother said, no, don't do that. Just give her the baby. And then the woman said, no, divide it. And King Solomon said, now I know who baby it is. And that was the wisdom that God had gave him to learn how to make decisions over his people. A lot of us need some wisdom, because some of us, crazy as a Looney Tune. Whatever anybody say, we go along with it. What Shirley said, Let's do this and let's do that. Okay, let's. But I got something to do. No, come on, go with me first, and then you can do it. Okay, I'm gonna go with you. Crazy as a lunatic when you should be taking care of your own business. Let your business be first. Let your business be first. When you have something to do and somebody tell you they want to change your mind, use some wisdom. Use some wisdom in what you're doing and what you're thinking about, what you have to do. Because what happens here is you forget about yours and help them with theirs. And then when you need them, they're nowhere around. Can't find them, can't call them. Won't see them. None of that. So we need to understand that we must put God first in all things. When we put him first in all things, it's going to work out, baby. Because he says here, believe. See, you got to have that power of belief. If you got power, you're going to believe what God said, because God gave you a promise that if you believe, this is what I'm going to do for you. But then when it don't come through, then we mad because it didn't come through. Well, did you believe? Did you have power enough to believe that God can do all things but fail? We got to believe. You got to believe when you can't see it. When you don't even, in your heart of hearts, your heart don't believe it. You got to turn that heart around. Yes, it is going to come. Yes, it is going to come. Because he said it in his word. He said, whatsoever you desire. He's telling you, when you come to me in prayer, when you talk to me, that's prayer. When you talk to me, you got to believe what you asked me for, because you should know that I'm your daddy. I'm going to do it because you're my child. That's real simple. That's like a child come to his mama and ask for something. And you ask him, well, what is it that you want? Can I have a cookie up there? And that kid is believing that he's going to get that cookie. And daddy go to the shelf and get it and give it to him. You got to believe. Kids got more belief than we do. Y'all don't believe that, but they do. They believe faster than we do. We teach them not to believe. How do we teach them? Stop that. You can't have that because. Well, if you do that, this is what's going to happen to you. So we put the fear in them. So then we start cutting off their belief. There's a way to not to do that. Sit down and have a discussion with them on their level so that they understand why and how come. When we begin to do that, then we will see different things about them. When we just say whatever it is, no explanation and no reasoning, even God gave reasoning as to why he did the things that he did. So we have to learn how to give reason to the little people so that they will understand what we're talking about. They can't understand if we don't teach it to them. He goes on to say, believe that you will receive and you shall have them. How you going to have something if you don't believe? Even when you can't see it, even when it looks like it's so far off, even when you can't think about it, even when everybody else is telling you, just like they tell me, why are you there? Why are you over there at Fond du Lac? Don't you know them doors need to be closed? I'm like, God didn't tell me. He told me keep them open. I said, whatever God say, I got to do, because I'm not going to be disobedient because somebody else want me to do something. Because when you do something with somebody else wants you don't know what price you're paying. But God says, receive, believe. We got to learn how to believe more than what we do, even when it looks impossible. I tell us all the time, if God raised me up from the dead 1, 2, 3 times, and the doctors told my husband there's nothing we can do for it. And I can hear Fred howling in the background, screaming, and Deacon Bruce is trying to hold him back, and I'm like, I can hear it. But God made a decision. See, God can make decisions when the impossible seem impossible right in front of us. But you got to believe. I'm trying to help us to believe the impossible, y'all. Because the impossible could be your breakthrough. The impossible could be the thing that you're yet holding on for, and everybody else told you to let go, let go, let go. If I was you, I would let go. I wouldn't be doing that. But the thing of it is, they're not you, because God ain't talking to them. He's talking to you. So we got to understand that we got to hold on, even when it looked bleak, because when it looked bleak, God is putting us in a test. God has put me in many tests. He'll put you in the test and like, Lord, I give it up. What you want? I surrender. And a lot of times that's what we have to do, surrender. Because when we surrender, God gonna give you your breakthrough. I believe that because he done it to me too many times. Too many times. I'm looking for him to give me a breakthrough about this hand. I took this thing off and my doctor told me put it back on. I didn't put it back on till this morning because I've been using it, and I've been doing therapy. My doctor said there's no therapy. I said the devil is a lie, because I couldn't move it, but now I can move it because I've been doing therapy myself. I don't know nothing about no therapy. I'm just doing what I think I can do to help. And I'm looking for God to do something about it. You have to be looking for the impossible sometimes. Sometimes we have to look for the impossible so that the impossible become possible to what we can do when we thought that we couldn't do it. Stop cheating yourself on your thought. Your thought got in the way, gets in the way of what God has planned for you. Don't you know that he already told you, I knew you before you were born? For the plans I have for you. He already had it planned out before you were when you was in your mama's womb. It was already planned out. I didn't plan to be no preacher. I took off running. I'm like, oh no, that ain't for me. I'll write and do everything else they asked me to do. But God told me to come out. I said, come out of where? Come out of what? He said, it's time. Time for what? And I fought until he told me he was going to kill me. Take my life. And the life that he was going to take was the gifts that he given me. I'm like, no, I like the gifts you gave me. I was born with them. It feel like something would be missing. When I went to my bishop and I told him, he said, baby, you should have been gone 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm like, why you didn't tell me? She said, because this is something you have to see for yourself. Because it's a lonely walk, and it is a lonely walk. It really is. People talk about you. People lie on you. People laugh at you. People stab you in the back while they smiling in your face. Now they don't stab in the back no more. They stab you front up. Right in front of you. Pow! But I still stand. Because I believe and I trust him. I trust him. God has been good to let it rain because God has kept the doors open. God has got the kind of warm up in here right about now. See some lights on and whatnot. He's been good to us. He has been good, great, and wonderful, and magnificent to us, and I appreciate it. I'm grateful. God have told us, he tells us, he says, and when you stand praying, look here. He's telling all of us. He's telling us now, when you pray and you come to me with something, I need for you to do something. Well, what is it, Lord, you want me to do? Forgive. You got to forgive. No matter what it is. See, we say we forgive, and then as soon as we get mad, we pop it back up. That is not forgiving. That's not forgiving. That's just waiting for an opportune time so I can blast it again. And then you know what happens to you? God pushes you back when you should be going forward because you did not forgive. He says it is not me. It's in verse 25. It says, when you stand praying. Meaning that when you come to me and you ask me for something and I said that you should have them, and when you pray, you need to forgive. And see, a lot of it, I forgave, but there ain't no but. God don't deal in no buts. He deal with just what he say. Forgive, that's it, that's all. And do not bring it up no more, because when we continue to bring it up, don't make me mad. I'm going to bring it up. Oh, I'm going to get you now. Oh, I'm going to tell you everything. Don't do that. God ain't about that. Because he don't bring your mess up, so why are you bringing up somebody else's mess? Because when you bring up somebody else's mess, you messy. You real messy. You a mess stirrer. You continuously do the same thing over and over, and you continuously go backwards and backwards and backwards when you should be further than where you are, because of this one thing right here will hold you back. Not forgiving. He says, forgive if you have anything. This is his words. If you have anything against any, that means anybody. Anybody, if you have anything against any, that your Father also which is in heaven may forgive you of your trespasses. But here's God's but, y'all. He got a but too, y'all. Here's his but. He says, but if you do not forgive, neither will your Father will forgive you which is in heaven. See, we can't say, well, I forgive, but you know, I got the Holy Ghost and I'm this, that, and the other, and you around here cussing out everybody because you're mad about something. Can't be doing that. Well, then you need to ask God, Lord, help me, deliver me from that. And you need to ask him on a daily basis, and you will see little by little, it will go away. Because God don't want his sons and daughters with the enemy doing that, and the enemy keep bringing stuff up and keeping you from your blessing, because the enemy don't want you to be blessed no way. He don't want you to have nothing God got for you. His job is to kill, steal, and destroy, and he's doing it every time you go do something and you bring something up. He's taking it. He's stealing it. He's killing what God can do for you. Because we have done one word, allowed him to do it. Because of what I feel. Well, I feel like they did me wrong. And I had somebody do me wrong real bad this week, and it hurt my heart. But I'm like, I told my daughter, so that's okay. God got me. God got me. When God got you, you ain't got to worry about it. Let it go. I've let it go. I said, that's on them, because God's going to bring it back to them, and they're going to end up hurt. Because, see, I'm the kind of person, you do what you do to me, you forget who you're dealing with. Because when you mess with me, God coming after you. Period. Big old period. He coming after you. And this was a family member. I'm like, do what you do, Lord. It's a wrap. I forgive him. I forgive him. Because they thought they were doing something slick smart. But they don't know. I'm slicker than the slick. I wrote the book. You can't out-slick me. You may think it because I don't say nothing, but my mind is working. I'm like, hey, God, you got this. I ain't got to mess with it. I don't have to mess with it. Because they're going to need me before I need them. Because that's how it works. They're going to need you before you need them. So we got to forgive. The thing of it is, God is power. And God has given us power. But we cannot ignite that power if we just sit back and just, well, Lord, if it be your will. Lord, I've been praying. Lord, I thank you. And then start all kind of hell. God ain't looking at that like, no, and some more no. It's time for us to understand that you have the power within you to do what is right. We all make mistakes. We all do things wrong. We all may come up short sometime or another. But when you recognize what you have done, when you recognize what you are doing, when you recognize that it wasn't right, just don't stand there and act like you don't know that it wasn't right. Correct yourself. You don't have to have nobody else correct you. You know you did something wrong. Correct yourself. And empower yourself by going to the individual or whoever it is and let them know, I'm sorry. I apologize, or whatever it is. It takes a lot of strength to go to somebody and tell them that you're sorry, that you apologize. Some folks just do it automatically because they just used to doing it. But do it because you mean it from your heart. Just don't let the words come out your mouth, but mean it. It's because, see, God knows when you lie. You just say, well, I apologize because you don't want to hear nothing else nobody else have to say. Apologize and mean what you say. And then let it be so. And when it is so, it's over with. It's over. It's time for us to understand that we're too far into what God wants us to do to turn around. Because when we turn around, where you going to go? What you going to do? How much trouble you going to be in? Where is it going to lead you? Away from God. And God is not going to run after you. Come back to me. He's not going to run after you. Because we always say, I'm grown. You so grown, then you should know what you doing. You should know. And sometimes we may not know, but there's a lot of times that we do know. And we still keep doing what we don't have no business doing. Be careful for nothing, God tells us. Because you can get caught up and get caught in your own situation because you have allowed yourself to get back into something that you have no business doing. Not none. But I need and I need and I need. You know you don't. What you need is Jesus. You need some power of the God that we serve. The Bible tells us, he says, verily, that means truly. Truly I say to you, whosoever shall say to this mountain, be ye removed. That's your problem. The mountains are your problems. You can tell them, you can look. We all got issues, problems, and concerns. And some of them problems we make bigger than what they are. If we just take the time to sit back and just look at the situation, get yourself out the way, and just look at the problem, look at the issue, look at the concern, and see what it is. It can be solved. But when we get into the midst of it with our emotions, don't you know the emotion is like a willow tree? It just blows in the wind, going any direction. And we need to understand when we get our emotion out of the way, because our emotions get in the way and it gets us off track. Because our emotions in the way. Delete them emotions sometimes. I'm not saying that emotions are not good. They are. But sometimes when you're in the midst of something that's powerful and is strong, and you allow the emotions to get in the way rather than being focused on what is at hand, you miss it. You miss it. Then all kind of other stuff start happening, start falling because of the emotions that got in the way. Because our emotions are so to our heart, so to the love of what our heart is, that we feel for this and we love this and we care about that. That's all good, but put it in this perspective. Some of us need to put things in perspective, because when we don't put it in perspective, we got haywire. We just like a bowl of jello all over the place. Because we have allowed ourselves not to put things in perspective. He says, be you removed and you be cast into the sea. And it shall not doubt. There's another word right there. Not doubt. We doubt. Doubt is disbelief. Doubt is negativity. I'm trying to get us to a point where we don't have no negativity. And when negativity come up, we'll know how to get rid of it quickly, fast, and in a hurry up. We all have doubt. Me, you, them, they, those, and everybody. But when you have it, you recognize what it is. Recognize that you are doubting. Recognize that you got negativities seeping in. And remove it. Again, step back. Like, wait a minute, let me think about this. Let me just talk to the Lord about this. We need to talk to God about everything. We mess up when we don't talk to him. And it can be right there. Right here. Right on the tip of your nose. But because of one thing you might have said or one thing you might have done, or somebody said something to you and you went back and said what they said, it's all gone. It's just gone. The opportunity is gone. It's time for us to understand that we got to have no doubt. The Bible says have no doubt in his heart. We can't have no doubt in our heart. We got to be lined up. Our mind, our thoughts, what we say, our heart, on what we're feeling about, which is an emotion, on what we're doing, or what we're dealing with. Everything must line up. One thing out of order, everything is out of order. We got to line up so that everything can be positive, no doubt. No doubt. When deacons should say, well, I don't know about it, so I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't do negativity. Well, you got to hear this because, no, I got to hear this because I already tuned it out. Because I know how this is going to work when you do this. And when he made the decisions to do what I asked him, it turned out even better than what it should have been. No doubt, y'all. No doubt. Get doubt out of the way. Kick him back to the pit of hell which he come from. Did I just not tell you the enemy come to kill, steal, and destroy? He will destroy your dreams just like that. He will destroy you because of doubt, because of negativity, because of lack of faith, because of lack of belief, because of lack of trust in God. He will destroy your beliefs. He will destroy you because we have allowed him to. We have allowed him into our mind, into our heart, into our spirit. Now everything we think about, I don't know. Then you don't know. Because it becomes so prevalent in your life. Anybody else, well, he gonna already tell you, you don't know. So why are you gonna ask him? It'd be a part of you. Stand on the word of God is what I'm trying to get us to understand. Have the power of faith. Have the power. The power is the force without unlimited, dynamic things that you can do. Have that power. It's in you. God put it there. He put it there. We are replicas of him. We're supposed to be just do the things that that Jesus did. But we can't do them because we're scared. God will tell you, go say something to that person. You don't even know. I don't know. God is at you talking. And then somebody will tell you whatever was on your mind. If they said they found out that they did whatever it was, God told me. I knew I should have said something. Allow the devil in your mind. Allow the enemy in your mind. We got to get away from the enemy. We got to let him know you can't be part of my life. Even though every now and then you may creep in, but I know how to kick you out. And that's what we got to do. Kick the enemy out of our lives. Excuse me. But kick him out. And know that God loves you enough that he will give you the power to do it successfully. So that you can be successful. So that you will succeed. Whatever God you serve. And I believe that we all serve the same one. So if we serve the same one, then our God is this big. As far as the east from the west and the north from the south. He's big, he's great, he's humongous. We got to make sure he's all over the place. Rather than he's a teenage God, smaller than a mustard seed, because some of us got mustard seed faith. That mustard seed faith is good, but smaller than the mustard seed. It's time for us to understand that it's in us. And every time something comes up negative, talk to God about it. Better yet, get in your word. You'll find your answer. Every answer that you got, everything that you got a question about is right here in this word. It's right here. It's in this word. It's in this word for to lead you and guide you, that you will get to the place of wherever it is that you want to go. Have that God kind of faith. And that's what we got to have, that God kind of faith. Not your kind of faith, but God kind of faith that know that the impossible could be made possible. And when he says that you can say remove whatever it is, it can't be removed. I remember one time I was listening to Jesse Duplantis, and there was a storm down where he lived at, and there was and it was going, and then not only a storm, but there was a tornado that was coming, and he saw it coming his way. Jesse said he went out and stood on the porch, and as he stood on his porch, he talked to the wind. And he told that wind that it shall not and it will not to destroy anything that God has given him. And he said that when he stood there and demanded and commanded that storm not touch his house, nor any of his property, he said he saw it divide itself and go around him and around his land. And when he saw it go around his house and around his land, then he saw it come back together when it passed. If that can happen for Jesse, it can happen for any of us. If it can happen for me that I'm walking when the doctor said that I'd never walk again, not once but twice, then I know it can happen. If when I was blind, I could not see out of these eyes, but God gave me eyesight that I can see. We got to learn to stand on the truth. And the truth is that God said all things are possible for he that believes. So if you believe, stand on your belief, even when it look bleak, even when it look like it can't happen. Even when somebody tell you it's impossible, don't let that enter into your ear gate. You tell them, no, I don't hear that. I hear God. What you mean you hear God? Just what I said. I hear God. I'm not hearing that. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to do what the word say. Believe. And as I believe, I'm going to trust. And as I trust, I know that when I pray, he said that it shall be done. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what you tell them. They're going to look at you crazy. And they may not want to be around you because, they talking too much God for me. Because there are people that's like that. They don't want to hear it. It's not the fact that I think a lot of times that they may not want to hear it. I think it's because they're afraid that they may have to change some things in their life. And they don't realize the things that's happening in their life is because of the way they think. How do people think? Ask God for some wisdom so when you make the decisions and ask God to be there. I always tell God, if I got something important, go meet me, beat me, greet me before I get there. I tell him that every time. And guess what? He meets me, he greets me, and he beat me there. And when I walk in, I can feel the air. I can feel the atmosphere. So you got to be able to discern even the atmosphere when you walk into the room. When you walk into the room, your discernment should be on tap. I can feel it. I can feel it. I felt the atmosphere even when we went to a hearing, or when the way certain funeral home buried my husband. I felt the atmosphere, and I said, she knows these people. Talking about whoever the person was that was over our case. She knew him. She favored him. But see, when people do stuff like that, God is still working. Because he would deal with people. Because he knows every single person, he put us all here. And all of us have a purpose. If you don't know your purpose, you ask God, Lord, what's my purpose? I'm here. Speak to me. So see, God will speak to you if you listen. Sometimes we don't want to hear because we don't want to change them. We like what we're doing. We living our best life. Best life. Your best life is when we do what God wants us to do. Because he is the rewarder of those that diligently seek him. When we go after him and we find him in our heart and in our mind and in our spirit, when we find him that he loves us and that he talks to us and he tells us things, then he will reward you. He will reward you so much like, whoa, 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 ooh, ah. Because that's how our God is, our daddy is. And it's time for us to recognize this. When you get home, go home and read Mark 11:23, all the way down to 26. Read that. Read it. And begin to eat it. Well, how do you eat it? You begin to put it in your mind, put it in your heart, put it in your spirit, so it develop in your soul. Read it. Eat it up. Have that kind of God faith, that God can move everything. Do you know that children have that kind of faith? Little bitty kids. Because they believe they can do anything until we teach them not to. I got a little cousin, little cousin, third cousin, second cousin, third cousin, whatever he is, a little bitty boy. Talking about Justin's son. He's 2 years old. He think he can do everything. He washed dishes, y'all. He take his little bowl. His mama, see, this is how you teach. His mama put him up to the sink and tell him, this is your bowl. And he knows how to get the soap, the dishwasher, and wash his little bowl with his little spoon. He wanted some cookies, I guess, one time, and she wouldn't give him none. So you know what he did? He had the kind of faith to take his chair, take a big chair, push it up to the counter, climb on top of the counter, reach it to the cabinet, get the cookie he want, and bag back and put the chair back. 2. Pepperware too. 2. No, and then he loves football. He think he's a football star because his daddy tell him, you got it, you got to encourage him. Here, not here, here. and he think he can play football. He got a little toy football like little kids have, and he get it, and he throw it, and he run with it. He run with it. The other day I saw him that they had a lot of kids at I'm assuming at a place where the kids can hang out, and it was his turn to make a basket, because they had the basketball, the little net down to where they can do it. And he thought he did, and he made the basket. He just started clapping his hands, and his daddy like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he had the biggest smile on his face. That's training up a child in the way that he should go, so when he get old, he shall not depart. That's word. And he think he can do anything. 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 And he keeps his daddy just running after him. And his mother too. But when we get these kids, we need to teach them. Just don't say they cute. Just don't say they handsome. And just don't be trying to teach them to drop it like it's hot. Don't know NAM A, NAM B, nor C or D. Teach him something. And he knows, he's learning how to read. He likes books. He likes books. He has toys, but he likes books. And he gets his book and tells his mom to read to him, and she read to him, and then he take his finger and he reads along with her. I told him, I said, y'all need to have him tested, because I don't have seen no 2-year-old do stuff like this. He is something else. He is something else. But his mom and daddy have faith in him enough to know that he's going to grow up and be something. Something to somebody. Teaching him now what it is that he's going to have to do. 2 years old, pepper wearing, 2 years old. And talk just like I'm talking. And you understand him. When he gets upset, you know he's upset about something. 2 years old, I said, something wrong with this child. He's been here before. Because he's doing stuff that's beyond his age. But we got to teach him as we tell them how pretty they are, and putting the bows in their head, and their mind is full of nothing. We gotta teach them. Tell them that they handsome, and they just acting up. Put something in their head, some knowledge. Teach them some stuff. Teach them something about the word. Teach them. I'm almost done. I want us to have that kind of faith. Have that kind of faith that you know that God can do anything but fail you, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it is. Have that kind of faith. Because our God is big and he's strong, and he can do anything for us. Again, when you go home, read this. Read Mark 11, 23 to 20, 26. Read it. And if you want to read beyond that, do that too. But read this. Put this in your mind of mind, in your heart of hearts. And I guarantee you, when you start putting these passages right here, the rest of it going to be easy for you. The rest of the word will be easy for you. Because you have an understanding. Lord, I want an understanding of your word. I want an understanding of what you want me to do. I want an understanding of what am I supposed to discern. Lord, we said whatsoever I desire. That's wide open, y'all. That's wide open. Ain't no teenager thing. It's wide open. So if it's wide open, get busy. Get busy. Make you a list if you have to. Go before the Lord. Go before him with prayer and fasting. So we fast so that our heart can be right. So that what we're doing is right. So that you can clearly hear his answers. Fast and pray so that you can purify yourself, your mind, your thoughts, and whatever the negative world gonna say to you. Clear your thoughts. Because the world gonna talk to you, baby. They're like, why you always gotta be praying? I've had people ask me that. I said, huh? Why you always gotta be praying? Why you always talk about that? Why not? It's better than gossip. It's much better. It's rich. Gossip ain't rich. Gossip is not rich. It may be rich to the ones that's on Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, is telling test of lies. because they're making money off of somebody with their lives. And even if it's true, they doing stuff with, are they invested in the word of God? Letting God lead them and guide them. God ain't leading nobody to cuss nobody out on YouTube, on Facebook. He's not you. Let me just get back to this. I'm just about done. Read this when you get home. And if you have to, put it in your bathroom on your mirror so that you can see it, so that it start helping to absorb in your mind, so that you will see it on the daily and constant. Every time you go in the bathroom, there it is. It's reminding you of what God has for you, because he has so much to give us, and we're getting so less because we don't do this. We have doubt, we don't trust, we don't believe, and we halfway pray. So when we begin to do this, everything in the word will come clearer to you, because you will want more of what God is talking about, what he's telling you, what he's trying to show you through his word. His word is good, y'all. His word is real good. So when we do that, we'll have something. I want to tell us that faith is the assurance of belief and confidence to know that God will do what he said that he would do. I also want to tell you, God promises. He got promises for us. He got promise to strengthen you, to give you rest, to protect you, to take care of your needs. And he prays for and answers our prayers, to work everything out for our good, and etc. and etc. God got so many promises for us that we need to look into these promises so that we can be assured that when we pray and not in doubt, that we will have them, because he said so. I didn't say so. I'm just saying what's here, trying to help us to understand. So with that being said, we're going to be done with this today, and we just hope that there was something that was said that helped you to rethink some things that you thought about, but now you can rethink yourself and get you out of the way and put God in front of you. So when we put God in front of you, we know it's going to work out, because it will work out because of who he is, our Father, which art in heaven. That's who he is. Amen. Amen. God bless you this morning.